Welcome back, y'all, to another fucking episode. Film Theory. They heard our last video, saw we were talking shit, and they dropped a new one. This is actually updated. I think he's seen the whole series. Obviously, we haven't watched it yet, but hopefully this actually breaks some stuff down because the last one taught nothing.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get it. What is this?
It's a scent diffuser, so you put in different sprays and the fragrance.
It looks like a mouse or a pencil sharpener.
It does kind of look like that.
Three
That shit hits,
friends
though.
trapped in a house of dread.
Yeah, I smell it ever since I move it around.
Lessons taught will fill their head. One a duck, the other red.
W-verse.
And the last, the yellow guy, is dead.
No, that's unnecessary, bro.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory.
I just think of
Show
Five
that
Nights
knows
at
that a
Freddy's and I
family is
hear his
just a group
voice.
of people who
Same.
live together and have the same lawyer. Ladies and gentlemen, it happened. The new Don't Hug
Let's
Me, I'm
move
Scared
focus
TV
closer,
series
just in case.
finally hit the airwaves, and it is great. To catch you up, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, or DHMIS for short, started as a series of YouTube videos that took Sesame Street and Jigsaw and then made the two of them kiss. The YouTube series followed three protagonists named Red Guy, Yellow Guy, and Duck as they went on adventures, learned important lessons about things like or then injected pure nightmare fuel into our eyeballs with imagery like this.
Yeah, I swear the first one was so much more grotesque.
The series concluded in 2016. Most of us thought that it had entered the great YouTube playlist in the sky, lost alongside Niga Higa and Jenna Marbles. Faded to
Damn.
occasionally pop up in
I used
recommended
to love
feeds
Niga
from
Higa.
now until the heat death of the universe, whenever the algorithm sensed that we were starting to get nostalgic. Or at least that's the way it was supposed to go until Don't Hug Me did the impossible and got a TV show. Earlier this year, the creators managed to wrangle together a real 6-episode DHMAS TV series on the British Channel 4. And after watching it, I gotta say, it nails the tone of those original YouTube videos, all without feeling held back or tied down by them. In fact, it's clear that while the
I don't know
aesthetics
about
are the
nailed
same,
it.
the series has moved on. The calendar that appears in every episode has moved from the original June 19th date that it was stuck on to June 20th. It's a turning of the page, a symbolic new leaf. And whereas the original series was all about the corruption of art and children's programming, this new TV series seems to tell a more personal story about these characters, because they are actual real characters now. No longer are they just symbols for kids, or creators, or ducks, I guess. These three now appear to have histories and lore.
Yeah, I guess
In
that's a
fact,
good
when
point.
you start
They go
piecing
from
this
like
puzzle together,
characters
the
to,
story
or
of
from
these
symbols
three
to characters.
is tragic. They're
Yeah,
a
that is
trio
fact.
that's trapped inside of a repeating cycle built on one woman's guilt and pain. And if I'm right about this, at least one of these three characters is dead. So wakey wakey gang, it's theory
What?
time, just theory time, you'll see.
I'm about to debate
For
him,
the
bro.
first 4 episodes of the show, things proceed normally. Or at
Put a
least as
thesis in
normally
the
as they
comment
can
section.
here in the world of DHMIS. Our three characters start each day in some mundane way before eventually being joined by the Teacher of the Week, an anthropomorphized object that's there to share some twisted lessons about topics ranging from jobs to death to electricity. Oh sure, there's some weird bits mixed in there, like Yellow Guy's dad Roy viciously ripping apart a creepy family, or Duck killing off his own doppelganger, but nothing that out of the ordinary. But then comes episode 5, where we see the reality of the show starting to fray. In this episode, our main characters are confronted by an old living train, basically the nursing home equivalent of Thomas the Tank Engine. Thomas the hover-around engine? Anyway, at one point the teacher turns into a car and then promptly dies. So our heroic trio does the reasonable thing and hops into his rotting carcass to take a road trip. And it works. Not only do they manage to drive past the desiccated remains of their original TV
I
pilot,
wish he talked about the dad a little bit instead of just flying over it, but I guess the show did too.
they
It really
manage to
did,
drive
dude.
so far that
Nothing
they
really did.
break through what
It's like my
appears
favorite
to be a
character.
simulation. They leave their cartoonish
Next to
world
the green
behind,
guy.
only to end up in a realistic dystopian one.
We can't go back. I'm not going back into that house. Guys, there's something out there.
No, that ad stain.
Lost and confused, they set up camp for the night. As they sit around a fire contemplating their new world and hoping that the neighbors will show up to help, a mysterious voice begins to echo through the night. Suddenly, Yellow Guy sees something out of the corner of his eye and we cut to black. Only to then watch as a mysterious hand rolls a model of their car up to a dollhouse. The same house that we've been watching at the start of every episode.
The journey always ends up back at home.
Now, this is important because earlier this very episode, the characters had already talked about the episodic nature of content and how everything always winds up resorting to a status quo.
All we do is sit around and then some guy comes and tells us about banks or vegetables. Nice to be back at home, eh? What are you talking about? We didn't even go anywhere.
And sure enough, when we rejoined them in episode 6, the characters are reset right back to where we started, none the wiser about their junkyard excursion the night before. And that's when things start to really pick up. At first, the season finale is all about electricity. Our 3 friends get an electric bill and they don't want to pay it because
Electricity is silly stuff that ought to be free.
so of course their
kinda
fuse
spitting.
box, Electracy, comes to life to teach them more about the wonders of electricity and how it powers phones and televisions and radios. And yes, even your shredder. When the lesson suddenly turns to portable sources of
Imagine a
energy
collab
like batteries,
with,
Yellow Guy
Green
gives us
Crow
the
and,
surprise
Lil
revelation
Yachty.
that he too is powered by batteries.
Batteries, see?
Motherfucker took the shredder
Which
to
is a
Poland.
strange detail
Okay.
that we'll come back to.
Also, I
Regardless,
see
his
what
current
you mean.
batteries are old,
Isn't
corroded,
it?
ducts, which is about for
Shit good, ain't it?
Suddenly,
Real ones
the
know.
once-young Yellow Guy is juiced up to the max, and instead of being dim-witted, his mind explodes with intelligence.
feel like if you had,
Equipped
like,
with this
a
new
couple of
awareness of the
these,
world around him, Yellow Guy becomes
like
the first
3 of
person
them,
in the
it'd be
trio to
Fate Seal
realize
for
that
you.
they're only on the bottom
Well,
floor
there's-
of what's
Because
the
it's like, I'm
multi-story
very
house. Yellow Guy
aware,
climbs the stairs
like,
to discover the
maybe
big boy
because of the,
room on the second
like, sugar
floor.
and the
Inside,
tiny
he
bit of
finds older
pre-workout, but
versions of Red
I
Guy
can
and
still
Duck
also
that are
tell
able to
that that
learn
bitch
not
is-
just one, but
When you
2
make it like the
lessons in
right
every
way with
day.
like probably 2, you'll probably be straight. Like, I'll explain it after this, but
Unimpressed, he continues
Mitch-
up to
Mitch
the
tried to
3rd
go.
floor, where he finds the more advanced, bigger boys' room, housing even smarter and more futuristic versions of Red Guy and Duck. Eventually,
So, in
this
a way,
turns
is
out
he
by their
like a-
heartless and cruel experiments,
sorry,
things
audience, I'm
like
turning it down, I wanna talk.
electrocuting innocent
So we
so
can just pause it.
So for a
oh yeah, valid. So is he like a toy? I don't know if we ever addressed that. Like the fact that he has batteries inside of him, like one of those little like kids' toys you put in the batteries and they like walk around and
I mean, to an extent, I'd say they all are kind of just puppets. She said herself.
well, like I get puppets. The red guy is a puppet. The green guy is like a puppet. But he's like a doll or a toy or something. Which might be why he can break out the system because he's got no strings. Toys don't have strings.
Damn.
I just put y'all on game, bro.
This nigga's stupid.
Moves up another flight of steps. At the top of the house, things are extremely different. Here, Yellow Guy finds a door labeled
No, that
Leslie.
scared the shit
Yeah, I
out of me.
know. I saw it
And
like.
Jane's on the other side.
Batty.
It's nice to meet you.
It's made clear that this is the woman that we heard reciting the rhyme at the end of episode 5. It was also her gloved hand that was resetting the dollhouse back to square one at the end of the last episode. But now the dollhouse is opened, and we can see small figures of the trio inside, recreating the exact events that we're watching play out in this episode.
See, but the
Yellow
figures
Guy
look the
is
same there.
obviously full of questions, and Leslie
What
promises
figures?
to answer all of
In the-
them,
in the
provided
house.
he plays with dolls.
You help me tidy things up around here, and I'll help you.
Promise.
Promise.
She then produces a large leather-bound book covered in a wacky-looking code before sending him back downstairs to his friends. Right as he's about to read it, Duck and Red Guy rip the batteries out of his chest in order to power the house. Yellow Guy forgets what the book was for in the first place and decides that it's something.
Incredible.
The season ends as the
Terrible,
three friends
bro.
cheer at the destruction of the book, so
Incredible.
close to answers,
Wide-ass
or
kitchen.
even an escape, but instead trapped inside their ceaseless prison once more. Making matters worse, Yellow Guy never realized that there was yet another level to the house that he never got to. It's an incredibly sad.
Do they show that at the end of the
surreal
episode?
ending
Because I
to
heard you
No,
said
it was
leaves us on
during
this
it.
unusual
Oh.
cliffhanger. Can Yellow Guy make
I remember
the
you
journey
said
up
it,
the
but like I
stairs
went
again?
back to like
Based
try
on
and
the
find. I was
pictures
like,
that
I
we
didn't
behind
see
him
it.
hanging on the wall as he goes up. We
So it
know
must be
that
just
he's
that
made
shot
this
they show.
journey before. Hopefully there's a second season where he's able to do the whole thing again. In the meantime, though, we're left with a lot of questions. The first and foremost being who or what is Leslie? She's the only human character that we meet throughout all of DHMAS,
I don't know
which
if I
in
would
and
call
of
that
itself
human.
is odd. Her design is also noteworthy. She's a bizarre mix of puppet and flesh. She's clearly a human, but her coat makes her look like one giant Muppet that's covered in fur, and her face has been stitched and scarred like a creature that's been sewn together. More
Ugh, she looks
importantly
so
than her design,
cursed.
though, she acts like the puppeteer for this world. She's the one that's turning the crank at the start of every episode. She also appears to be controlling the actions of all the others through her miniature miniature figurines. And when one of the dolls breaks, she has a drawer full of replacements.
Oh, sorry.
Don't worry, I always make sure that I have plenty of backups.
Yeah, so how
I
can one of them
suspect
be
that I know what's
dead?
going on here,
Like
and
he's
it all
saying.
begins with one key line. As Leslie sends the yellow guy on his way, he asks whether he can stay on the top floor with her. She immediately rejects the idea by shouting,
That's
You're not
tough.
my real son! Only joking.
At first, this just seems like a random outburst, a combination punchline jump scare to keep us on our feet. I think that this is actually the key to understanding everything about this
Yeah, no
series.
shit.
Taking Leslie at her
think
word
she's
here,
just saying
Yellow
it
Guy
to
isn't
say
her
it.
real son, but he's close. You see, I suspect that Yellow Guy represents Leslie's real son.
Very
a real
good
son
suspect.
named David, a son who died. In episode 2, Death,
Oh,
we
that's
see the
what
name
it
David
means.
etched onto the grave where Duck gets buried.
Why does it say David?
Later, we see a large group of human mourners show up in the kitchen for David's
And it's so
funeral, where they
oblivious to
again
everything.
see Duck
I know.
as David.
We're just friends of Dave.
It wasn't called David.
So, what would make me say that Yellow Guy's David? Well, take a look at what's stitched into Yellow Guy's overalls. On the front pocket, there's the large letter D, and at the foot of Yellow Guy's bed, the letter D again. In episode 3, Family, Yellow Guy is even given a special locket with the letter D engraved on
When
it.
the fuck did
Over
that
and
happen?
over again,
I don't
Yellow Guy and
remember
the
that
letter
one.
D are connected. D for David. But the connection between the two goes well beyond just the letter. Going back to the death episode, when our happy trio first show up at the cemetery, the coffin assumes that Yellow Guy is the one who died.
Don't tell me. I'm good at this. It's you, isn't it?
And throughout the rest of the series, we watch as both flies and worms are attracted to Yellow Guy and no one else. It's almost like he's a dead, decaying body. Plus, there's a strange moment in the intro of episode 5 where Yellow Guy seems to dissociate and
Such
remember something about
unhinged
his past.
chaos in your mind.
He's clearly remembering a dream where he saw another version of himself. He's seeing David. The same thing
I
happens
think he's
in
seeing
the
the
think
smart
he's-
version of him.
He looks
Yeah,
out the
I
car
agree.
window.
When I look out through it, it looks back in through me.
He's connecting with
Yeah.
the past iteration of himself, with David. We're also explicitly told that David is not Duck's name.
Why does it say David?
That's his name. What? That's supposed to be your name.
We also know that Red Guy isn't dead based on his ID.
Don't be silly.
Oh,
You
that's
died for
right.
ages.
So by process of
And
elimination,
the other two
if
were
one of
dead,
these
right?
characters is representative of
Yeah.
David, it has to be Yellow Guy. This may also explain why Leslie says this to him when he first enters the room.
You're one of my favorites.
Sounds
There are
almost
only
motherly.
3.
But this is far from the full
Yeah.
story.
I imagine
the tragic
that-
twist of the tale is that we know exactly
And
if it's
what
one
of
killed
my
David.
favorites, that
He
means that
died in a car
at the
crash.
very minimum
In
there's
episode
2.
5, when
out
Red
of
Guy
3.
tells Yellow Guy that they're
Same.
going to be part of a community, Yellow Guy fantasizes about living in a new
She probably
city
hates the
called
Green Crow.
Hoven. He imagines joining a neighborhood,
Yeah.
befriending the people
I
in
feel
the
like she
town.
might
Yellow
hate
Guy
Red
then
One 'cause
moves
he
into a
wants
new
to
home
leave.
where Red Guy's his neighbor
Yeah,
and Duck
that
is
too.
his pet.
But he's,
Everything
like,
is great
intelligent.
until a clergyman offers Yellow Guy a bird.
I feel like
as a
everyone in
birthday
that universe would
present.
hate the
bird flies
Crow
away,
just because
and
he's
Yellow
on
Guy gets
bullshit all the
chased.
time.
Yeah, that's
From
true. I
there,
don't think he would
gets
like
arrested.
us.
Yellow Guy is hit by a
No.
car. I suspect that dream sequence may be more true to life than we initially expect. Listen to the narrator of that little story.
Morning. Here in Mulhoven, Newtown.
It's Leslie's voice.
You've got plenty of reading to do.
In fact, it's Leslie screaming for Yellow Guy to get out of the street.
Oh, careful.
And the reason she's screaming? Because she's the one in the car. Leslie killed her own son, David.
Now
That's
that
an
might be-
interesting.
Did you say?
Yeah, you heard me. Leslie killed her own son.
Why would she be yelling
in
at
this
her own
accident.
child from
Why do I
inside
say
the
that?
car?
Well, first of
Careful,
all,
Why does she not hit the
Leslie in
brakes?
episode 6, her face is covered in stitches, almost
Yelling
like she
careful,
was
but
in an awful
continuing to
accident
accelerate.
herself. Secondly, take a look at the license
It's a
plate of the
conflict of
car that
interest.
the gang
Now
drives
that
throughout
is
this episode.
very
It
exposing.
spells Leslie. And most importantly of all, we know that David
Exposing that
What?
with some things, this dude has very, very, very good
At
points.
the end of
Just
episode
saying.
3, as
Did
they're
we not
wrapping up
notice
what they
that at
learned
all?
about families, Yellow Guy describes a
Gotta go
family
back
as
and
a
watch the
group
tape.
And die on the same day in the same style of accident, but in different locations.
Unless his father Roy also died in a car accident that same day, which seems pretty unlikely. I suspect that this line's meant to
Can we see anybody in the car?
also died in a car accident
No, there's
same
nobody
day,
driving
which
it.
seems pretty unlikely. I suspect that
It's
this
also in
line's
the
meant to
middle of the
describe
road.
Leslie, who metaphorically
You gotta pick a
died
side.
that day. And you see, that gets to the core issue here. That's why I think she's created these characters, this dollhouse, this world. It's to escape from that trauma. The sad truth of Don't Hug Me, I'm I'm Scared is that it isn't the story of 3 wacky puppets learning disturbing life lessons. In reality, it's the story of a mother grieving over her dead son.
Oh, and she's got a
woman that
yellow
is
guy in the
stuck
back
in
of
a
her
spiraling
jacket too.
cycle of guilt, creating
Whoa.
playthings that
L
represent him
canceled.
so she can impart all the lessons that she would have taught him if he had lived. And she has dozens of backups to ensure that she never loses him again. And for as much as Yellow Guy reminds her of her lost son, he can never truly be the real David. You're not my son. Don't hug me, I'm scared. It's a weird name, right? We've never really stopped to question it, have we? It's always just kind of been there. So yeah, DHMAS,
Yeah, no
that's the
doubt.
name, duh. But really think about those words. Don't hug me, I'm scared. It's a reference to someone so damaged, so hurt, that they're afraid of something like a hug. They're scared of affection, of love, of opening themselves up to someone else. That right there, that's Leslie. Afraid to love again because she's afraid of being
Nah,
hurt.
painting
But I
Leslie is a
suspect that in order to move
damage.
forward,
Yeah,
to get to
because
that
I
final
don't
level
think
of the house, that's
Leslie was
exactly what
even
needs to
thought
happen.
about
A hug.
when
Leslie
they
to forgive herself
had
and Yellow Guy to give her
like
a
the
hug.
very first
Then, and
episode of Don't
only
Hug Me.
then, will both
When I
of
say
them be
episode,
able
I
to
don't mean show. I
transcend, to
mean
move
Like
past
the
their
first video.
stagnant
Yeah.
lives inside that house
I
and
highly
climb
doubt
to the final level. To finally
It
be
could be
free
though, because if there's
again
another
as
level,
she
maybe
is.
someone's controlling her
Film
or trying to help her cope.
and guts.
it's Roy.
That would be crazy, bro. You go up there and it's just Roy. What's up, nigga?
Insane greeting.
I'm just saying. All right, y'all. That was a good one. I actually learned a good amount from that. Got some pieces put together. Maybe we said something to help you guys think of something as well. Let us know in the comments. Run up the likes, run up the subs. Same thing as always. And we out.